Hello and welcome to EDUC Education 325 Children's Literature. This is one of my favorite courses to teach. I like all the courses I teach, of course, but this is one of my favorites. And we're in Ultra Blackboard. I hope you've used Ultra Blackboard before, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Andy Steck. I'm your instructor. I know some of you already know me, and some of you I may be new to you. And so I just want to let you know that I'm in my 12th year, I think now, at the University of Laverne. I'm very excited. I've been previously an elementary school teacher, an elementary school principal. I love K-8 students especially. I love all students, but I love K-8 students in particular. I also started 3 charter schools in Buffalo, New York, and I return to Buffalo on maybe every other month, maybe every 3 months, and work with the schools in social emotional learning. And you'll see that in the course as we go along. I believe that you should teach the social emotional learning curriculum, and when you do, your academic curriculum will be much easier for your students, and they will be able to be more successful. It might not be easy still, but it'll be successful. And they will be less behavior problems in your classroom. Your classroom management should be stronger because you have focused on social emotional learning, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that as well in the course, as well as lots about children's literature, because it's amazing. Children's literature has just come such a long way, and I hope you'll see that in the course as well. Well, anyways, as I said before, I'm in Ultra Blackboard, and I do like Ultra because I think it's a little bit more simple to use, and it looks a little bit more organized in a simpler way, and I like anything simple, I guess. But anyways, I'm going to walk you through Blackboard and the syllabus in this video. I'll try not to be long-winded, although I get that way sometimes, so that you can watch the whole video. This will be one of the videos that you will watch the first week. If you look here, there are several folders on the main page that you do see here. I have the syllabus, the weekly schedule, and some additional information that I'm going to click on just a minute. I have the weekly learning modules folder. This folder is the one you go to every single week because it has the weekly work on it for our online work. As you know, this class is online. You will also be meeting with a small group of students in a literacy circle to discuss some required books that you're going to be reading, some children's literature that you're going to be reading. So you'll need to know all that information as well, and I'll share that as we go along as well. These are the major assignments. Besides the weekly activities, you will have a few major assignments that will be completed throughout the semester, and I'll talk about those as well shortly. If you want to know which literacy circle it is, click on this folder and I will bring it down. You will see, here's the drop box if you need to put something in there for the literacy circle, but here is the list of the literacy circles and which one you fall on. You'll either fall on A, B, C, or D, and this is the required book list for your literacy group. Excuse me. So if you are in literacy circle A, you will read the books for A. If you are in B, you'll read the books for B, and so forth. We're going to be talking about lesson plans and objectives, primarily objectives in this because we will be writing lesson sketches, which are a little bit different than lesson plans, but I will help you with that as well. This is the folder for social, emotional, cultural learning that we will be talking about. If you need some anti-racism resources or you're interested in anti-racism, please peruse these resources in this folder. And then don't forget, we have the Educational Studies Handbook and instructor information, and there should be something in here about the Wilson Library as well. We have a wonderful librarian, Shelley, and she has a wonderful last name that I can never pronounce. It starts with U. She is the Educational Studies, the Lefevre College librarian. She's amazing. She'll help you out not only in this course and any other course. So if you do need to meet with her, just go on the library website for the Wilson Library and ask for Shelley and locate her information, and you can send her an email, and she will be very willing to work with you either excuse me, in person or online. She's great either way, and she has a wealth of information she can provide for you. So please, please, please use her. If we were sitting in class, I would invite her to come and talk to us in class. And that is Ultra Blackboard, and that is what you're going to be working with. This is the learning management system that we will be using this semester. I'm going to show you in the weekly modules. You'll see all my weekly modules here because I'm working every single week. I work and create new information, update information, whatever I need to do. But you will see week 1. And as we go along, you'll see the additional weeks here, but you're in the instructor mode now, so that's what you're seeing, a little bit more than what you will see in yours. If I click on week 1, you'll see the activities in the Dropbox. So you're going to do all your work through this Dropbox. You put everything in here that you need to do. Some weeks it will be an assignment type Dropbox. Other weeks it will be a discussion because you might need to comment on somebody else's postings. When you're in those weeks, you can see everybody else's postings. So if you have a question or you need something, you can always ask me. I am fine by that. Or you can ask a classmate as well. Don't be shy, please, with me, because I've had a million questions asked of me, so the question you're asking is probably one I have answered before, and I'm glad to answer it again. But you'll work here every week in this folder, as I said. That's the Blackboard, and so I'm going to move to the syllabus to keep this short. If I've gone too fast or you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'm going to minimize this and bring up the syllabus because I do really want to spend a little bit more time on the syllabus. This is the syllabus. It is for our whole semester. I forgot to tell you, there's a weekly schedule in the syllabus folder. Check that because it tells you in that weekly folder what the topics will be for the week, what the assignment is due if there is one due, what the readings are due if there's a reading due. So check that out. But anyways, my office hours are Tuesdays, 11 o'clock. I say to 12, but I'll stay on longer if people are there to talk to me. That will be virtual. On Wednesdays, I will be in my office on campus from 11:30 to 2 p.m. You're always welcome to stop by there. I'm very proud of my office, and I like to show it off. So if you'd like to see my office, you're more than welcome to come by if you are on campus then. And just wear your mask, please. I wear mine. We need to stay safe and protect each other. But you can also meet me by appointment. And by appointment, it'll probably be virtual. But if you need to make an appointment to make sure I'm in my office and you want to come and see me in my office, you can make an appointment as well. Excuse me. I want to share that this course is designed to introduce students to children's literature with an emphasis on developing an aesthetic and critical response to literature, experiencing and appreciating a breadth of genres and a variety of authors and illustrators. There'll be creative ways to use children's literature with children will be also investigated. Students will begin to use children's literature as a teacher in an elementary and middle school classroom. We're going to be thinking in teacher mode the entire time we're in this class and how we would use these books in the class, why we might be using them in the class, and which books are the best ones to use in the class. There is a required textbook. It is here. I have the wrong, I think, it's 2014. It's the newest edition. I really like this book. It has lots of information. If you have an older book, you're more than welcome to use that. Just know that you might need to check the page numbers because this is the 9th edition. I have used the 8th edition, and I do refer to the 8th edition and some page numbers there if you do need that. So if you, either way, you can catch the book. Both editions are excellent to use. The learning outcomes. There are 7 learning outcomes. Many of them, I believe that children's literature, you need to investigate technology along with that. And so I have made many of our assignments involving technology using children's literature. So you're welcome to read through the outcomes. The learning outcomes are all embedded in every activity we do. So if we do an activity or we do an assignment, especially the major assignments, you could come back here and take a look and pick the learning outcome that fits that assignment, or that assignment fits that learning outcome, I should say. Once you know your total points at the end of the semester, you can divide your total points by the total points in class. It will give you the percentage, and you can come here and convert that percentage to a letter grade. Here are the assignments at a glance. Here's my late work policy. If you need an accommodation, please, please, please go to the accessibilities services, and they will help you do that. If you need any accommodations from me, I will be glad to help you out. Do not hesitate at all, but you really should get it officially done so you can use those accommodations in every single class and not just my class. And that's what I will encourage you to do. If you say, oh, I do have an accommodation, but I haven't gone to the accessibility office yet, please do, because we really want everyone to be successful. I want you to be successful, and I have built this course on building on your success, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along. There's some classroom conduct, pretty much. Just be very positive and be very appropriate when you are discussing anything or working with anyone in the classroom. If you feel that you have been intimidated or have an unfair treatment or oppression against you or anyone you might know, you can submit a report anonymously, and they will investigate that. And here's the report for you. Just click on this link here. You need to talk to me, by all means, you can welcome to do that. Here's my attendance policy. Pretty much the attendance on online work is that you complete the every week work. You attend the literacy circle discussions. You complete all the activities. Each week is worth 50 points. If you complete all the activities, you get all 50 points. If you don't do one of the activities, you'll just receive less points. To be absent, if you don't do a week, you just won't get the credit, but you can make up that. You can make the week up even if you miss a week, and I'm always willing to take that late. If you complete the whole week, you will get all the points. I want you to not plagiarize. Please, please, please give everybody credit for whatever you do. I always do that in all my work. I would love to take credit for things, but I will not do that if it's not my own work. And if it was my own work, I would want somebody else not to take the credit for it as well. Here are some additional resource links. If you need them, by all means, take a look on the very first folder on Blackboard, and you'll see in there ULV staff to know, and they are people who can assist you too in a whole variety of ways. And I will always be willing to point to the person you need to talk to if you have any concerns. Here's the mission. The college champions social equity for youth, adults, families, and communities by equipping and empowering scholarly, high-skilled practitioners, educational advocates, and leaders. Our vision is that we'll lead the nation conversation on advancing the careers of professionals and scholars who are highly competent advocates for equity and justice. You can read through the goals for the Federal College of Education. The dispositions are amazing to me. Here are our dispositions that we work toward, and every single one of these you should find in this class. I do focus heavily on one in particular, my favorite, social emotional learning. I believe when you teach children how to get along in life, how to learn and work with their emotional skills, their social skills, you will make them a better person in life. You will also have a better time in your class, and your students will develop that relationship with you, which I think is the ultimate of all, is to develop a relationship with every single one of your children. Do not leave one child out. If they know you care for them and that you truly want them to be successful, and I will do that, I will be that role model for you in regards to you. If I leave one of you aside, I feel bad, I feel hurt. If I don't hear from you or if I don't see your work every week, I will reach out to you and say, are you okay? Is everything all right? Is there anything I can do for you? I just want you to be successful in this course. I want you to move ahead in your educational journey, and I want you to feel good about becoming a teacher or the educator, because there's a variety of jobs in education you can have in regards to your degree that you'll receive in your major in educational studies. This statement should be at the very top of my syllabus, because I firmly believe that the university supports a diverse and inclusive environment where students recognize and benefit from the life practices and viewpoints of other students, faculty, and staff. Diversity is an active and intentional practice that supports difference and multiplicity to expand knowledge, educate capable citizens, develop the whole person, and serve our local and global communities. Promoting and sustaining diversity is a commitment to education quality and the creation of positive, respectful learning communities. That is why in this class we do meet as a small group to discuss books, because I firmly believe that we will never, never, ever increase our literacy rate in this country if we don't start talking about what we're reading. And that's why I encourage you to do that here. And when you become teachers, I want you to have many conversations with students about books, even without books that you haven't read before. I want you to ask students questions and what they thought about the book and what made it a good book that they enjoyed, or what made it a book that they didn't enjoy. We have to have those conversations and talk about books. That is our culture, that we don't do that. We talk about our social media and we talk about what we see on the screen, but we really need to start encouraging kids to read so much more and read books, whether they're online or if they're hard copy. We'll be talking about those this semester as well. Again, here's the Title IX statement. You can read that. I'm going to move into the assignments. These are just a brief glimpse, a synopsis of what and a description of what the assignment's about. But you will read more about that if you go to Blackboard, go to Major Assignments folder, and you'll find all of these assignments in more detail in that folder. So you're going to have your virtual discussion, and that is you joining your literacy group every single week. And if you are there every week, you'll get your 200 points, because that's how I do it here. I just want it's like attendance. It's your attendance for doing your online work, your activities every week. This is also part of the attendance. You're going to create a reader's response blog after you read each of the 8 books and discuss them with your literacy circle. You can turn those in along the way as you finish them, or you can wait to the very end. But I beg you not to wait to the very end, because my students who wait to the very end usually are not successful in completing the reader's response blog. And I remind you, they don't keep turning them in. I will grade them every time you turn them in. So when you have read your Touchstone book, you will then turn in your you write up your blog. I will grade that and give you suggestions or offer you feedback. If you don't get the full points you want for that, each one's worth 25. The whole assignment's worth 200 points. If you don't do something or you need to correct something, you're welcome to do that, and I can then give you more points, and then you'll receive a better grade, of course. It's 4 parts. Kind of is hard to read here, but if you read it through the description in the Major Assignment folder, you will certainly be able to read it more so as well. But in part 1, you're going to put the bibliography information in APA format, as you see here. Part 2, you're going to either write about a prediction, thoughts about the craft. A craft is about the writer's style, and you'll learn more about writing style as we go along. You'll be researching writing styles, and you can write more about the author's writing. That's one thing you can do. You can make some personal connections in the books to your life, or to other books you've read, or to the world in general. That's when I write to you, I'll say, oh, that's a great thought you had about text to you, or text to text, or text to life, the world is what I put. You might have thoughts about particular issues raised in the book. You're welcome to write about that, or prompts that you could use when reading the books with children. Part 3 will be a critique of the book based on the various components and issues that you'll read about in course readings. So maybe you'll be talking about the plot, or the setting, or the theme, or the style, or the point of view. Those are all welcome. It may be your point of view. And then the last part's always the hardest. My students say this takes the longest time. That's to develop a lesson sketch. It's not a lesson plan. It includes a lesson objective. That objective has to be written in A, B, C, D format. It has to be observable and measurable. We're going to work on how to write a lesson objective for this course, which you probably could use in your other courses as well. You're going to write 2 to 3 discussion questions that you would ask students based on the book. You're going to create a standards-based lesson plan. Now, I said standards. You're going to have to give me a standard. You have to write the standard and then a brief description of that activity. And then you're going to link 3 outside resources, websites, lesson ideas that's related to the book and can be used in a lesson with your future students. We're also going to create an author study. I haven't done this in the last few semesters, but I'm going to try to do it this semester. And you're going to work with a small group, probably not your literacy group, but I might have you do that. It might be easier to do that. You're going to create a flip classroom video about the author. You're going to then create 2 activities, one that's technology-based, one that might be hands-on, and the rest of our class will actually do those assignments online, and I'll work that in. They'll probably start about maybe after fall break. And then you're going to also, that's all, and you can implement all of these ideas I have here into your author study as well. You're going to create a book trailer. And a book trailer, you say, what's that? That's like a movie trailer. You know, when you go to watch a movie trailer to see if you're going to like the movie, we're going to do that with a book. You're going to pick a book, whatever book you want. It can be one of your favorite children's literature books that you have read as a child. It can be one you're reading now. It can be a young adult book. It could even be an adult book if you have one you really like. You can also do that, but I would encourage it to be children's literature just because we're in a children's literature course. And you're going to actually make it look really professional. And there's lots of ways to do that. If you look in the assignment, you will see that. Yes, this assignment always seems so overwhelming to my students. But once you complete it and you see how wonderful you've done, you'll be amazing. You also need to create a QR code that links you to your book trailer. And I ask you to do that because what I would do is print out the QR code, and I would laminate it, and I would tape it into a book. So when students pull out the book and they want to know more about the book, you can click on the QR code and your book trailer should pop up so they can read more. And you should do this with your students in your classroom library, so all your students will know to take their phones or take an iPad and click on that, and they can read, they can find out what's all about the book before they go ahead and read it. I just think it's a great way to get kids more involved in books and writing books, and it beats writing a book report. They can do this as a book report type assignment as well. You're going to create a family literacy backpack. Now this is a backpack that you might have a whole bunch of them made in your classroom, and maybe you'll take a week where you don't send home the typical assignments you've done every week, the math assignments or the spelling test or whatever, and you're going to give your parents, the adults in the home, not necessarily parents, but any of the caretakers in the home, you're going to give them an opportunity to work with their child during the week to complete the book, to complete the family literacy backpack. Now, in this backpack, you're going to create 3 books. You're going to create 3 activities that you want to relate to each one, which are hands-on. That means not a worksheet. You're going to create a journal with some writing prompts for them to write about the books and to write about what they're doing. You're also going to give them an assessment tool. This assessment tool will be feedback for you on what they thought about the backpack. And I have examples of these again, in the major assignments folder under family literacy backpacks. And we'll talk more about that as well as we go along. You're going to create a self-selected virtual library. Now these are 24 books that you're going to read this semester. You're like, wow, on top of the 8 books that we're having in discussion and the textbook? Yes, but remember, this is children's literature. And if you read 24 books, you're going to read 19 that are picture books, and you're going to select 5 that are chapter books. And these are chapter books that are either young adult, or they may be an intermediate level or middle school level. So they're not really challenging to read. They're just books that your students might read, and you're going to create this virtual library, which is using Google Books. If you haven't used Google Books, it's an amazing tool for you and your students to post books they're reading. They could write a review about them if they want, but you don't have to write the review. You just have to post these 24 self-selected books, and you also have to create a 2-minute short reflection about this assignment via a screencast about your overall experience of reading your self-selected books. You don't have to navigate through. I can do that when you post the link and you post the screencast. What did you get out of this project? Which books were your favorite? What were your least favorite? Explain why. 2 minutes. That's all I need from you. Some of my students say, oh, it's too short. I can't talk about all I want. But just respond to these questions. That would be appropriate. And you can see that's toward the end of the semester. Something to think about now is your library field experience. You can do this in 2 ways. You can go to the library, ask if they can volunteer if the library is open and you feel safe. If you don't feel safe being in the library physically and working as a volunteer in that library, then you can do this virtually. And it explains both ways. If you go to the library, you just put in your 15 hours of volunteering in a public school or a public school library or a private school library or a public library. You can do whatever you want, so either a public library or a school library. You volunteer your time, you write about it. Every time you go in, you're going to write your journal about what you did in the library. You're going to interview a librarian, hopefully a children's literature librarian, or at least somebody who's in charge of the children's part of the library. And then you're gonna, that will be your reflection. If you can take some pictures without students around, I don't advise you to take pictures with students, but of the library, you can add that to embellish your work, your text, and you can submit that. Now, if you're going to do it virtually, you'll have to interview a librarian virtually. You'll have to ask them, and you can do that through WebEx or Zoom. You can do it through a phone call if they won't let you record them. You can meet with them if you want physically. It's up to you. But if you're doing it virtually, you're going to cite in your paper at least 5 videos, 5 articles, and do your interview, and you're going to then add a reflection about all of that, putting that all together. You can create a virtual library as you see in my link, and what I created a virtual library, and we can click on the various links in the virtual library. You can do it that way as well. If you have questions, you can ask me. This is due week 12. You need to put 15 hours in, so that's about 1.5 hours a week if you're going to go physically to the library. If you're going to do it because of the pandemic and because of the Delta variant, you can also do this virtually. I see I have author study twice. I apologize for that. Last but not least is the final exam. The final exam is an e-portfolio. I know you're hearing some noise. I'm having solar put on my house, and I'm sorry for the drilling. I'm going to try to end this very quickly so you won't hear that anymore, but I did want to talk about the final exam. That is an e-portfolio. That is a showcase of all of the major assignments you did in the semester, a short review, a brief review of each of them, and then a resource page that shows you as a teacher using children's literature. It may be resources we use throughout Blackboard. You're welcome to any of those at all. It may be children's literature websites that you've collected or apps you've collected. You can add whatever you would like, a page for that. That's due most likely, it says on Tuesday. I might make it Wednesday of week 16. And so just to let you know that that will be our final exam. And you're also going to create a screencast of your final exam. You're going to tell me which assignment best represents you as a teacher, which assignments are you most proud of, which assignment was most challenging for you. And you certainly can share your hope and wishes for the work you've completed in this class. And that is the syllabus. Here's a little bit more information about me. You're welcome to read. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to end this video before I hear any more drilling, you hear any more drilling. I want to wish you the best. You know I'm here for you, and I'm so glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Children's Literature, EDUC 325.